Welcome to Tabula Rasa, bitches.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Allie. My pronouns are she, her.
And I'm Nick, and my pronouns are he, him.
And welcome to Season 2, Episode 19 of Tabula Rasa, bitches. We're thrilled to have you here.
We are in Tabula Rasa, bitches. Your co-hosts discuss and dissect Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a show that bonded them together so many years ago. And in this episode, we are going to be discussing Season 2, Episode 19, I Only Have Eyes for You.
That's how I feel about you, Nicholas.
I was just about to say that. Shut the fuck up.
Stole it. And Nick, today is an extra special episode. Why is that?
Well, that is because today we are joined by a very special guest host, Frances Bailey. Frances, welcome.
Hi, hello.
I am so glad that Frances could join us today. Frances is such a dear friend of the pod. She was part of the crew that made me realize we could start a podcast. People can start a podcast. You can do it. So really cool full circle moment for me here. Frances has a podcast herself called the Podcast Diaries. And if the Podcast Diaries sounds familiar, that is because we were lucky enough to have another of the Podcast Diaries co-hosts, Jordan, who joined us earlier this season for Inca Mummy Girl. But Frances, I want you to tell everybody about you. Tell us what your pronouns are, plug the Podcast Diaries. And then on my little script here, I also have a note that your job is cool as fuck. So please plug that too.
That made me laugh. Okay, so sorry, is that on pod? Or was that like just was that on pod, or was that just like you saying like, tell me about yourself? Because like that made me laugh so hard. So hi, I'm Frances.
Oh no!
Oh,
all
yeah,
of that,
all
of that is in
that's
it.
all
Oh
in it.
yeah,
Okay,
oh
great.
yeah. Good. I'm glad you laughed. I was hoping it would bring that chuckle.
It was so okay, sorry. So I'm Frances, pronouns she, her. Podcast Diaries, check it out. We actually literally just this morning finished season 4 recording. We're doing Avalon High, which is book is great. Movie is literally so bad. So can't wait for everyone to hear about it. But yeah.
Oh man, I enjoyed the movie, so if the book's even better, I'm psyched. I should read it.
Yeah, the book is really I was pleasantly surprised. It was our first time for both me and Jordan reading that particular Maggie Cab book. And it was really fun. I enjoyed it. But yeah, so I work in film, and it made me laugh so hard that you were like, your job is cool AF, because like nothing is more disappointing than talking to a person in film and finding out how in fact boring it is. Like, I love my job so much. I think I'm like so lucky that I get to work like and do what I do. But it is like one of those situations where like if I'm not in a group with like my film people and I'm meeting people, I just say I'm an accountant. Because like no one asks further follow-up questions. But I work behind the camera.
Yeah.
I'm in set decoration, which is part of the art department, and we basically when you're looking at if you're picturing your favorite scene in a movie and you picture all of like the furniture and the tchotchkes and the things that are in the background that make you kind of realize who the character is without them having to say who they are. That's what we
You
do.
have one of my favorite people on set.
Set
Or
deck is
you are one of
very
my favorite
fun.
people on set.
Well,
Set dressing is so important because I feel like it's one of those things that maybe when it's done well, maybe people don't really notice it or they don't
exactly.
know to notice it. But I have seen some low budget movies that have nothing on the walls and you're like, this doesn't look real. This looks cheap.
Yeah.
And it makes all the difference in the world. And it really can tell you so much about the character, like what band posters are on their wall or like what celebrity do they have a crush on or all of that.
There was a piece of set dressing I noticed in this episode that I'm sure it's in multiple episodes because it's a sticker on the outside of outside of a locker, and it literally just says lotion. Like,
No way.
yeah, it was so bizarre, and I was
Oh my God,
like,
that's so
I was like, I need to like put that in a future something, just because it's so random, and like I'm sure they were just
Yes.
like, we need stickers, just anything.
Find
Yeah,
a
but then
sticker.
where do you
That's
have a
so funny.
lotion sticker?
I'm
How do you have a lotion?
well,
Who
I'm
who had a
sure
lotion sticker on the
this is
team?
the fun part because we have, like, these gigantic printers, like plotter printers, and we have all sorts of different kinds of paper, and when we'll just, like, make our own stickers, especially for, like, school scenes and stuff,
Oh.
and that is, like, a number one thing if ever you're watching something that's set in a school that's not necessarily, like, a kid's show, look out for locker accoutrement because there will be in jokes and there will be weird things that someone was just like, "Yeah, just throw it in there, it'll be hilarious."
Oh
That
my
is so
god.
funny.
I
We've
can't
we've
wait
talked
to
about
look
a
at
few
stuff.
of those, and actually,
We
there
do. We
was
talk about set dressing a good amount. We really do.
The set dressing is great.
one of the unsung heroes behind the scenes, Francis. You know you're a superhero.
Yes.
100%.
Oh, yeah, we try.
See,
And also
I
the
feel like
best
there's
part
a job
is,
we still don't
like,
talk about.
Allie, like, you want to be in front of the camera, yes? Like, I cannot express to you how far behind the camera I want to be. We had this, on this show I just, like, finished up in December or late December, the assistant to the creator, so the creator, like, directed the last episode, yada, yada, yada. He wanted to do some, like, behind the scenes footage, and the art director said no because she was like, yeah, no, I'm too busy." Like,
There's
we
a
knew.
reason we're here and not there.
Well, then he comes up to me, and I am not the decorator who is, like, the head of our department, and was like, "Oh, you should come and talk about the dressing," and I was just like, "No? What?"
No.
Like, that doesn't make any sense, first of all. Secondly, like, no, I don't want to be on camera.
That's so interesting.
That is really
'Cause
funny.
I enjoy being behind the scenes as well. I just enjoy being any part of making the magic happen, but I definitely enjoy the attention.
Yeah,
It's
and
always
that's
really
like an
funny.
yes, as you should, like, that's an integral part of acting, like, you have to enjoy that type of attention, and, like, there are types of attention I very much enjoy, but, like, it's and I mean, you can attest to this, Allie, like, when you're on a set, it's not intimate in any way. There are
No.
75 people just staring at you, like, it
Yeah.
is the worst. But yeah, my job is cool AF, but it is one of those things where, like, if it's just strangers at a bar, I'm just like, "Yeah, no, I work in real estate."
That is so funny.
That's really
It
funny.
is cool, but once you open the hood, it is just a job.
Spreadsheet.
A little bit.
I
Yeah.
We ask all of our guests this, Francis. We want to know your experience with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show. And I will further contextualize this question by saying we have had people come on who are like, I have seen this episode that I'm talking about and only this episode. I have seen up to this episode and it is the first time. I'm a longtime Buffy fan. So everybody across the spectrum and it's all celebrated. But
Oh, that's
tell
great.
us, where are you with Buffy?
So, I've watched Buffy through, like, a few times, like, obviously, when I was a kid, it was just, like, reruns because it came out, like, in the, like, mid-90s or, like, kind of mid-late '90s, so I wasn't able to watch, like, live, but, like, I definitely was young, waking up during the summer and watching, like, TNT, and it would be, like,
Mhm,
Buffy,
yeah.
Yeah.
ER, Charmed, and, like, one other show that I
Oh,
was
yeah.
probably too like, it was not appropriate for me to be watching. So I watched, like, the reruns and then purposefully, like, watched it all the way through probably when I was, like, late teens, and I've watched it through, like, a couple of times. I love it, and unfortunately, I
Oh,
did
okay.
love Joss Whedon until he revealed himself to be scum.
We all did.
Yeah, it turns out, yeah, it
That's
We
doesn't
all
that was
did.
a
yeah,
painful one, yeah.
right? It was
But
just like,
actually, as a fellow filmmaker, you'll appreciate this, is that something we talked about very early on in the podcast. We addressed it in the very first episode because we were like, well, we're not gonna beat around the bush about this. He's a piece of shit. But we're still gonna love on the creation because, as you know, as you mentioned, so many people go into the creation of even just one episode of
mhm.
a TV show. It is so much more like he could have had the best idea in the world, but if he had a shit budget or shit actors or any of those other elements that all go into the alchemy that is like putting on a good show, then it wouldn't be the product that it is.
Yeah, absolutely, and I mean and it's so funny, like, I was actually talking to Jordan about this morning because we were like, she was like, "You're recording today?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know. I've been thinking about the show for like I've been trying to be like in depth about it." And I was thinking about the show like as a whole and how like obviously Buffy's a great feminist character and like there's a lot of great like feminist moments that we can draw from in this. But there is some like sneaky, like not I don't know if it's like incel vibes, but like Xander is not cute enough to get with Cordelia. Like we know this. Like it doesn't make sense. But
I have
like
so much Xander slander. It's such a debate between me and Allie all the time. It's
ooh,
so fun. Yeah,
and
true. I agree with you. I think Allie
Xander kind of
has different
sucks.
feelings,
Like
but
she's kind of
true.
terrible.
Cordelia's a smoke show, man.
Right? She's hot as fuck. Like, she's so hot, and, like, Xander, like, he doesn't I mean, he's, like, nice, and, like, sometimes he does some good things, but, like, he doesn't pull his weight, and then, like, what? He gets the hottest fucking girl of all time, like, okay. But it felt I was like, "Oh, maybe this is, like, him being, like, secretly, like, nerd boy should get the girl, like, blah, blah, blah," that we always see where it's like,
Oh, there's probably there's almost definitely some wish fulfillment with, like Ducky didn't get the girl in Pretty in Pink and now I get to rewrite the story kind of thing.
Totally.
Um I disagree on several points, but we don't have to have a big Xander debate. But there definitely are some like sneaky like I think something that has become a recurring theme that I absolutely hate is everyone around Buffy not trusting her instincts.
Yeah.
Basically, every episode, there's a pattern. It's like how on House, they always say it's lupus, but it's never lupus.
Yes.
Like, every time Buffy is like, "Hey, I think this is going on," and they're like, "Buffy, come on." And then, sure enough, she's right. You're like, how many times does she have to prove her instincts right for you guys to just, like, trust her on faith?
That happens literally in the
And it's
episode
almost
before this
never
one.
Willow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And it's almost never Willow who's contradicting her
Yes,
or kind of second
right?
guessing her instincts. Sometimes it's Cordelia, but
Well,
she comes at it from like a psych major
yeah.
point of view, so it's a little different.
Yeah.
Well, good to know. Glad that you're a longtime fan. This is a super fun episode, so we're
Oh, so excited.
excited to talk about it with you. Allie, do you want to dive into our summary?
I want nothing more. So as usual, we'll do our best to avoid spoilers beyond this episode. I make no real promises. There's definitely some spoilers I have to give in this one. But today we'll discuss this episode and previous one, spoilers and all. So the Sadie Hawkins dance is approaching, but Buffy, understandably, isn't in a romantic mood. She goes to the library with hopes there might be some slaying to be done, but along the way interrupts a dramatic fight between a student and his girlfriend. The fight gets violent, and Buffy wrestles away a gun from the student, which disappears, along with their reason for fighting. More supernatural weirdness unfolds at school, and the next night, Giles sees another couple fight in exactly the same way as Buffy saw. This time, the man shoots and kills the teacher he fights with. The gang decides a poltergeist is to blame. They learn the ghost is that of a Sunnydale student who killed the teacher he'd been secretly seeing, then killed himself out of guilt. After the Scooby's exorcism fails, they retreat back to the Summers' home. The poltergeist lures Buffy and Angelus to the school where they play out the script, this time with Buffy as James, the student. Buffy shoots Angelus slash Grace, the teacher, but doesn't kill him because vampire. The script gets a new ending now. Angelus slash Grace stops Buffy slash James from killing himself. Grace forgives him, then their souls move on as the couple shares a passionate kiss. The episode ends with Spike revealing to the audience that he has recovered from his spinal injury, implying he plans to take revenge against Angel for the rift he's created between him and Drusilla. This summary, not adapted from Buffy Guide, was written by Nick. He wrote that in all caps, so I had to say it that way.
And masterfully edited by Allie. But yeah, I needed to give kind of an ungracious note that Buffy Guide let me down with this one and made me actually write my own summary like some sort of peasant.
How dare they?
It was
The
excellently read, excellently written.
Thank you. Thank
Francis,
you.
you are so kind. Thank you so much for your recognition.
I'm here for.
The okay, I am not sure when to. There's parts of.
Spit it out.
Allie, do we get our debate out of the way? Do we get our? I have to when I watch this
Is
episode,
this about the whole teacher thing?
I have to put on a
Yeah,
box,
this
yeah,
was
the
something too
Okay,
grossness.
about,
yeah,
like,
let's
the
just get it
Like,
over with and talk about it at
grossness
the top
level.
at the
Like,
top
this,
of the
like,
feed.
goes into, like, the whole, like, it's not bad because it's a female teacher and a male student, but it's like, this is statutory rape. I'm sorry, trigger warning for that word, but, like,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah,
100%. 100%.
yeah.
Not arguing that.
And so at a certain point, I just had to suspend my disbelief on that nasty premise and have to, because then I can't like engage with the
So
episode at all. But I just wanted to name that.
the way I see it, again, not debating that statutory rape. She's a predator. This is not okay. Teachers shouldn't date students for many, many, many reasons. Not debating that at all. It's not up for debate. But the way I see this is sort of the same way I see Romeo and Juliet, where a lot of people hold it as this like Romeo and Juliet, like it's something to be admired or it's something to like aspire to. No, they're dumb kids. That what they are doing is stupid. Someone should have intervened. Like that is not something to aspire to. But the story and how everything unfolds and how it affects everyone around them, like that is interesting and compelling. And I think the like sympathetic parts of this come from like their perspective of like their feelings. I don't think that changes how like society sees it. And like I think the sympathy comes from like him being a killer and like I don't think that like what they were doing was right, but like he killed a person and he was a person in pain and they are now causing the people in here and now pain and that's the sympathetic part.
Ooh, that's an interesting perspective. Framing it as thinking about it as Romeo and Juliet, and we can think about the lessons in this story about it. That's an interesting perspective, Allie.
Yeah, I mean, I can
Right, like
definitely
it's about
jive
what their
with
ghosts are
that.
doing, not about
Totally.
Sorry,
them.
Francis.
Oh, no,
Sorry.
I can totally jive with that. I definitely feel that. It's definitely and then this is also a very, like, very pre-Me Too world where,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, we just are suspending our disbelief. Like, I'm not watching a movie from 1954 and being like, "Well, that's not cool," you know? Like, we just have to kind of accept
Right.
it for what it is and, like, you don't have to agree with it, but,
Yeah.
here we are.
Right. Well, and clearly he had some toxic tendencies because lots of people get broken up with and don't bring a gun to school.
I have a question
It's
for the
like how a lot of people get bullied and then don't become like workplace shooters,
exactly.
So it's like it's definitely not like a role model kind of thing at all.
I feel like, would y'all have more sympathy for this young man if he gave because this whole speech is like, "I love you, you can't just wake up and decide you don't love someone anymore, yada, yada, yada," and then he ends it with, "Don't run away from me, bitch."
Bitch.
And if he didn't say bitch, I would have a lot more sympathy for him.
Honestly, it doesn't make a difference at that point.
It's
He's
too
got a
late.
gun,
He's gonna kill
he's
her.
yelling. Honestly, the volume, like literally the volume he's speaking at is a bigger deal to me than some of the word choice because that is frightening in and of itself. A man, and I mean, yes, he's younger than she is, but he's bigger than he is. She's got a Letterman's jacket, presumably he's on some sports team. A man yelling at you is frightening,
True.
I'm
regardless of
against
age.
misogyny all around. Maybe don't speak to people in raised voices or, well,
Right.
I call Allie a bitch all the time and I will continue to do so, but
That's
not in a,
consensual though.
not in a derogatory way.
Right. I
There's a
mean, sometimes.
difference.
You can call me out when I'm being a dumb bitch. That's
Only
fair.
for fun. Only for fun. No, no, that wouldn't be very kind. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we processed through that on the
Oh,
front end.
I have one more thing to add on that. I think also what's lovely about this dynamic is what it brings out for our characters. And I think the sympathy is more what it shows us about Buffy. Like I don't really give a fuck about this James kid. Who cares? But like it highlights what Buffy's going through. And I think there's pieces of it that we can identify with. Like you don't just wake up someday and stop loving someone.
Mhm.
Like that's a fear. We don't have a crystal ball. Like, there's always that worry because you don't know what another person's feeling. And there's like that aspect that like I can identify with without, again, encouraging people to go call people bitches and shoot them.
Yes, always. I mean, yeah. Please don't shoot people. PSA.
Please don't shoot people.
Yeah. I read
Please and
in
thank you.
I read in the trivia about this. One of those sources said when it aired on TV, Sarah Michelle Gellar had to do like a voiceover PSA at the end against suicide or something, or against again, like pick your like, are we gonna do a PSA about the rapiness, the violence, or the suicide? Yikes, there's a lot to unpack. But yeah, please don't shoot people.
I did.
That still happens.
I
That
did.
still happens on TV shows.
Yeah, I did a quick search because I was curious what date this aired, and it aired almost like a year to the day before Columbine.
Oh no.
Wow.
Isn't that weird? Because I
No,
was like, I mean,
Wild.
obviously
is
they
wild.
always did like it felt very like a very special episode kind of vibe.
Mhm.
But it was like, I mean, obviously like it was a different world before that, but that's interesting that they had to
Yeah.
do like a little PSA with Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah. There's been a few TV shows even since then that does a kind of like hotline for several different things, whether it's like if you or someone you know is dealing with domestic violence, blah 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 blah.
I like when they do that.
Mm.
Me
Good
too.
thing. Get the numbers
That's
out there.
good.
Okay, now that we're 20 minutes in, we can actually start talking about the plot of the episode.
Cool. Excellent. Love it. So this starts off with a great song, Charge by Splendid.
I was hoping you were gonna know. I had a question. What song is this? I was hoping you would have
Yep.
taken that note. Nice.
It
All
was
right.
on
Well,
Buffy the album.
that's a social media post right there. Thanks, Allie. Good.
You're welcome. There's actually 2 in this episode.
And then the other one is, yeah, I only have eyes for you. That's the song, right? I didn't know
By,
this.
do you know who it's by?
Francis would know this. Francis knows
okay,
everything.
God,
I had to
no,
look
I
it up.
don't. I'm so sad I don't. I wish I did. Who was it? Like Jerry
The
Lewis?
Flamingos.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely had to look it up. It's not like it's the Temptations or somebody like that. No, it's the Flamingos.
The
It was a great
Flamingos.
song. This
Okay.
it was such a great opener, and it felt like so vibey with Buffy, and like it puts you like right in the like mindset of where she is, how she's feeling, and especially with it felt
Mhm.
so like to my heart when I'm approached and I don't want to be at a bar and the person is like trying to flirt and you're just like, I'm not into it. And then they just try harder and you're just like, I don't know how to say this in a nice way. So I'm gonna be mean
Yep.
now.
Yep. Although she's nice.
What did she
She's
say?
nice.
I'm not seeing anybody ever again.
Ever
Actually,
again.
I have felt that before after a bad breakup.
I'm actually blind. I will never see anyone ever again.
Yeah, so Ben, the cutie Ben, comes over. I have a note. His shirt is hideous, and yeah, he asked Buffy if she would ask him to go to the dance with her, and Buffy declines.
Yeah. How do we all feel about Sadie Hawkins' dance?
Sure.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I don't know if I
I
had
skipped my senior
yeah.
prom. I don't care about dances.
Same.
Allie, you've always liked dances,
Well,
though. I bet you would love Sadie Hawkins.
Sadie Hawkins specifically as the role reversal, which I feel like doesn't fly in 2022 when we're like down with the gender binary. But I do think that everyone, whatever gender, all genders, all identities, should experience the terrifying act of asking somebody out.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Mhm.
I asked both of my dates to prom junior and senior year because I was single as hell. Yeah.
Yeah, I skipped my senior prom also. But also it's less to do with like you're absolutely right. Everyone should have to go through the terrifyingness of having to ask someone out just so that they can have sympathy for everyone on earth.
Right.
But yeah, no, I didn't like anyone except for Jordan in high school. So didn't want to ask. I didn't want to hang out with someone for a whole night if they weren't Jordan.
Did you all go to high school together? No, you didn't go to
Mhm.
collegiate. Oh, you went to Charleston Collegiate?
Yeah, that's where we met.
Oh, sorry. You can like blur that out if I'm not allowed to say it.
I
I
think
say
we
to
don't
Allie,
mention our high school, we just say we went to high school together. I'm not, like,
yeah,
worried
that's a
about
good
somebody
idea.
finding our yearbook, though.
Yeah, we don't have to
You
tell
said it
people.
so
Yeah.
quickly, I didn't even understand what you said.
Great. Good stuff.
So, there you go.
Perfect.
The That's cute. I see, this is memory of a goldfish. I had to have known that. Anyways, Buffy walks down the steps and meets Willow. Buffy says she's going to go to the library and see if there's any nonsense she can get up to, meaning
Yeah, and
slaying.
Willow, in a surprising move, is like, "Oh, come on, get back on the horse," like, kind of pushing Buffy to start dating again, which I'm on Buffy's side. That would be the last thing on my mind.
You know, the best way to get over someone it's if you
It's
don't know
just
the
like,
end,
what's
it's
that
to get
line?
under someone
Ah,
else.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
I
don't know if
might.
I encourage that policy for high schoolers.
As long as everyone's consenting and you're using protection, but no, yeah, no, Buffy is not ready. It's absolutely valid that she's like, "Absolutely not right this minute,
She's still
please."
worried, that her ex could be, like, killing someone's puppy. How do you think about, like, "What outfit should I wear on this next first date?" Like, no.
I am okay with taking a break from dating because men suck.
Mm,
I
mhm.
am less okay with taking a break from dating because you're so racked with guilt after your last relationship. So I'm kind of on Willow's side in the sense where she's like, you shouldn't feel like you should be graceful with yourself here.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to date, like, yeah, support that.
Yeah, I do feel like if this were a normal ex, a normal circumstance, then yes, I'd be a little more on her side of like, "Yeah, get back out there just for fun. Doesn't have to be love, like, just, like, have some fun." But no, he's a demon hunting her, so I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe
so
not.
that makes sense why you would want to hit that
Also,
pause button. Yeah.
definitely if she tried dating again, that person would end up dead, 100%.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah, you're probably right. Uh,
Angelus would kill him so fast.
yeah, maybe Buffy has a point here. Okay. So I think we're back at the school, and there's kind of an epic,
Mhm.
dramatic fight happening between this guy and his girlfriend. He holds a gun to her and says, "A person doesn't just wake up someday and stop loving somebody. Love is forever." And Buffy interrupts just in time to kick the guy's ass.
Yep. In a classic Buffy fit, that, like, crochet halter and leather pants. Ugh,
It's
so good.
incredible. Yeah. It's a great I love a high school episode where they're just, like, in the school for the majority of the episode and just, like, doing their Scooby Gang jazz. And this was such a
Mhm.
fun intro, and I loved, like, the confusion and then Buffy being, like, sniffing the air and just being like, "Something's wrong. We need to figure this out."
Yeah, my Slayer sense is tingling. Yeah. So sh
So, oh, go ahead, Allie.
go Oh, I was gonna say, so she says, "What's going on? You just tried to go all OJ on your
Oh,
girlfriend."
yeah, I wrote down that
Ooh,
quote too.
Not a reference
Oh,
that I got the
I
first
didn't.
yeah.
couple
Yeah,
times I was watching
yeah.
this.
This is my first time picking up on that.
That
I
was
was like,
probably very
oh,
timely and,
Timely
I
yet
mean,
still too
still a great
soon.
reference.
yeah, yeah. It's still just.
Yeah, maybe. But, yeah, that was always interesting. I'm like, "Oh, I get that now."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's been a few of them. I don't know why this late in the season. I feel like I skip through a lot of these and go straight to the season finale. But it's been nice this
Mhm.
episode and last episode. I'm really excited for next episode, which I actually don't like, but I haven't watched in a really long time. So maybe I'll like it more and
Mhm.
pick up on new things.
I
So
mean, I'm excited for a lot of hot young dudes in Speedos.
Yeah, I
yeah,
started watching the
yeah.
next episode while I was
Not mad
on
about
time,
that.
and it's no spoilies, but that one's it's so spooky, but it's such a great episode. But we're not here for that, sorry, we don't
Mhm.
have to talk about it, but it's a
Nope,
great app.
nope, nope, nope. No, we're here to get some sweet Snyder goodness.
That was a good segue. So Buffy is being just raked over the coals by Snyder in a really unfair way.
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, insinuating Buffy's creating all this chaos and he this is another line that I picked up on for the first time. I didn't know what he was talking about before. He said, Buffy's like, you heard from them. They said it themselves. You did I wasn't involved with this. And he goes, people can be coerced. I'm no stranger to conspiracy. I saw JFK.
That's really
But
funny.
You're a JFK conspiracy theorist, Snyder.
I
Okay.
love that. No, and I love that his another part of that line, and I'm gonna keep looking until I know how this is all your fault. Cool. Glad that you're so impulsive. You're so impartial, Snyder.
Oh, wait, well,
Awesome.
that was a reference, though. There was a movie that came out in the '90s that was all about the conspiracy of JFK's assassination.
Oh, so he's talking about I saw JFK, like I saw the
Like,
movie.
yeah, there's a movie called JFK, and it was so it is, like, a very
Oh.
timely reference. I don't know if the movie I've only very randomly seen it, but it's all about, like, conspiracy and, like, whatever. But it's yeah.
Wow. So he wasn't referencing
He
an
was
act like the
he
he was referencing a movie.
Yeah, but he
Oh.
watched it and clearly believed this
the
conspiracy.
whole grassy knoll jazz.
Wow,
Amazing.
that's wild. I'll have to check out the movie now. Maybe I'll watch it and be like, "He was right. Spanish
Yeah.
was
Right.
right.
Absolutely. This movie definitively proves what
He was
happened.
set up." Yeah. I will say I am gonna understand a little bit here why Snyder is freaking out and desperately searching for an answer because it's probably not great that there was almost a shooting, nobody can give more details, and he
Yep.
can't find the gun.
Yep.
Yeah, not
As a
ideal.
principal. Yeah,
No.
not ideal.
And I mean, on his side, she is very suspiciously in the middle of every single fight, every single thing that goes wrong at Buffy at Sunnydale. I mean, we happen to know her side, but if I were Snyder, I'd be like, "This fucking girl, you're always doing something."
Yeah, it's a bit of a where there's smoke, there's fire situation from his point of view.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Being an
Well,
educator is hard enough.
I think it's clear and no spoilies that the dynamic between the two of them is heating up. So we'll see
Yeah.
where that leads.
So we have the next scene, Willow teaching, which go Will. Teaching is fucking hard, and she just looks like she's crushing it.
Can we
She
talk about
even
how
makes a joke and the kids laugh.
yeah.
Sorry, Francis, I cut you off.
Yeah.
No, you're so right. It's great. I love that she makes a joke and she's like, "I did it. I made a joke," and then everyone laughed. But it's we're just weird. We just talked about how we're suspending our disbelief. It's insane that they were like, "This teacher died on campus? Like, what? She just, like, just whatever, it's fine." You know who would be good at this? This student.
Yep.
And at this
Yeah.
time, aren't they, like they're juniors, right? Or it's, like, nondescript,
Yes.
they're somewhere
Yes.
in the
Yes.
middle?
They're
Okay.
juniors. They're definitely
So
juniors.
this 16-year-old should really be teaching this computer science class.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's come up for Allie and I before. I think we landed on
Yeah.
it makes sense in an emergency fill-in situation if the teacher had like literally just died. But yeah, she's
Well,
keeping it
and
up
she
here.
was kind of already interning with her. Like there was definitely some classes that she'd specifically said like, "Hey, I'm teaching some remedial stuff. Come help me out." So maybe and also I think the conclusion that we came to of like maybe this is okay if it's Willow Rosenberg
Sure.
because she has a sterling reputation. So maybe they make an exception.
Sure.
I don't know.
I'll bite. I'm here for it. I'll listen. I love Willow Teacher Willow.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, we can indulge if we must. I like that there is a list of kids with detention on the chalkboard behind Willow, and I really hope that Willow is assigning detention.
I would love that. Absolutely.
I think that would be really cute. Kinda doubt she is, but that would be really cute.
So Giles comes in and offers Willow help, but clearly she don't need it. And Willow is starting to show that she is interested in magic. She's been researching
Yes.
paganism and stuff, and she gives Giles a necklace that she found in Miss Calendar's desk, and Giles is very moved.
Yeah, it's rose quartz, which sorry for all the crystally people out there. Is it just me or is rose quartz like the basic bitch of crystals?
And also, can I not I thought rose quartz was for love and she said it's for healing. Is there anything rose quartz doesn't do?
I don't think so.
You know?
I recently looked up the properties of different crystals as for a gag gift I was giving somebody because I wanted to get them a healing crystal for their ailment. and everyone says something different.
Okay.
And
Oh
some of them get, like,
no.
oddly specific. Like, this one has feminine properties, so it's good for, like, feminine diseases. So, like, if you have ovarian cancer, this is the crystal for you, and, like, they get very specific, and one woo-woo person to the other will say different things. There is no consensus.
Interesting. Well, Rose Quartz can be a nice little one-stop shop for all of your
Yeah.
It's cute, it's pretty, it's pink, it's
needs.
yeah.
Don't forget
But
your
it does
parkinson's and weight.
comes out as, like, the basic bitch one. It's like everyone's first crystal.
The gateway crystal. Oh,
Mhm.
yikes. That could have
Yeah.
I could
Rose
never
quartz
mind.
or
Never mind.
amethyst. What, gateway crystal?
Oh god, no, don't say okay. Buffy's in class and she is starting to fall asleep and has kind of a vision of the same class from another time. And she sees the student James having a conversation with his completely same age peer, and it's not weird. And they grasp hands and they reference being in love.
Yep. And then the teacher has been doing some automatic writing that he doesn't realize he's doing. That would scare the shit out of
Hey,
me.
when that
Yeah.
happens.
Like, if I was the one who, like, I look back at the board and I wrote something completely different than what I thought I had, that would scare the shit out of me. I
He
would think I was having a stroke.
he handles it pretty well considering, because yeah, that is, like, a very
Yeah.
scary situation, and he just, like, looks, like, slightly embarrassed that he's written a curse word. Like
Right, like, I'm not worried about the curse word, I'm worried about I went to go write a formula or some date, and I wrote a completely different thing than I intended to.
Yeah.
That would frighten me.
Hey, when that happens.
Right?
Outside of class, Buffy says to Xander that something weird is going on, and then Xander gets attacked by some arm in his locker. But then
After
the
saying a
arm,
great quote, "Something weird is going on." Isn't that our school motto? It's true.
We love a quip.
Yep, put
Francis,
that in
you
Latin.
noted that to pay attention to locker accoutrement.
Yes.
I
Mhm.
noticed something strange in this locker. It
Other
looked
you mean other than the hand?
other than the hand.
Okay.
It looked like there was a noose in it holding
Okay,
something up.
I just was like, I thought I had forgotten, like, a plot line. Yeah, there's literally, like, a voodoo doll hanging with, like, a like, it almost looks like the poop emoji on it as well. Yeah, it's so weird. I just thought I had forgotten, like, a plot line from previous episodes, but yeah, there's a super weird I'm sure that was just, like, an in joke that someone was like, "This will be hilarious, guys. The kids will love it." Uh,
Yeah, don't you don't remember just, like, learning to tie a noose and putting them everywhere? No?
Yeah, yeah, in my
That was definitely
locker,
not what
it's
I
like
did with my locker. When we've talked about this on previous episodes, high school was not when we used our lockers because at our school, we were able to have our backpacks with us, so we never touched our lockers. But I guess maybe if you were in sports, but,
No. Did you use locker in high school,
Yeah, we
Francis?
used our lockers, like, that's where yeah, all of our stuff was in there, but I guess we didn't I probably didn't use my backpack, I just grabbed books per class. But also our school, Jordan and my school was, like, probably the size of, like, it was tiny. It was the size of, like,
gotcha.
someone's house, basically.
Yeah, if we would have had to go back to our lockers to change books, we never would have made it to the next class. I mean, as is, I had trouble getting to class on time just by the sheer number of people you had to move through.
Did you have stairs in your high school?
No, we did in middle school, which there was definitely a few times that like you had to get from one end to the other and teacher's like, "Why are you always late?" I'm like, "You walk it with me next time and you try to be on time."
Yeah, we
But
I
in
love
middle
the
school
idea of middle
we
school Allie telling a teacher that. That's fantastic. I hope she did.
We can pretend that I did. I think somebody else did, and that's how I heard about that and decided to use it as my own story. But in middle school, we weren't allowed to have our backpacks, which means we did use our lockers, and our lockers were decorated to hell. So I just transposed that experience to my
Yeah.
high school.
No nooses though, so that's good.
Yeah.
Definitely no
Um,
nooses.
so they go into the library, they're talking about how there's kind of weird stuff happening, and they're describing what weird stuff is happening, and Giles notes that Xander is describing a poltergeist. And we learn that poltergeists are spirits that are plagued by worldly troubles. And in order for it to move on, their worldly trouble needs to be resolved.
Yep,
Good to
sounds
know.
like a plan. Sounds like a plan. I love Xander says, "This was I'm dead as hell and I'm not gonna take it anymore."
That was I was trying to remember the
Characterizing
line.
the
It's
hand.
so funny. That was a
Yeah,
great
I love
line.
that. And before that, there was a little bit of someone poo-pooing Buffy's instinct, so everyone take a shot. Those playing along at home.
Oh, we're all gonna die. So I think it's that night,
Mhm.
and we start to see the same scene from the previous night play out, but this time it's between the janitor and the teacher who's been working late.
I love seeing the change come over their face when
This
they
is a
go
great
from
scene.
yeah, it happens later with the next round of possessed people, but especially from an acting point of view, I really love seeing that moment where from one line to the next you can tell, "Oh, and now she's Grace." So cool.
I do appreciate too, like, sorry, I promise we'll stay on track, but I do appreciate that the teacher, like, comes out of the room and the janitor is like, "Oh, Miss whatever, so and so," I can't remember, I'm so bad with names, and he's like,
Mhm.
"So and so, like, are you good? Like, are you staying here late?" And she was like, "Oh, yeah, it's my own fault, like, I got behind," and then she's like, George, right?" And
Yeah.
I just was like, "He remembered your name immediately off the dome, and you had to double check with him? Come on, do better, Miss so and so."
Yeah. Yeah, it does sound about right. And yeah, now this poor man is gonna have probably his life ruined, let's be honest.
Right?
Can't
Yeah, and Buffy
explain
has, like
how or why
yeah.
they're never gonna find I mean, maybe I like to think in my own head narrative, he gets off because they could never find a murder weapon.
Yeah,
Mm.
true. Buffy has, like, very little sympathy for him also, which I feel like doesn't I don't know if it doesn't track, but it didn't feel, like, right, kind of, like, she was like, "Yeah, well, he should do 60 years, like, he killed someone," and I was like, "Well, yeah, he did, but also, like, he was not in his own body."
Oh, I think she was saying that about James, because doesn't
Okay,
she say that? And then Xander says something about, like, "He can't, Buffy. He's dead."
okay.
Or is that what comes later? I thought that exchange when she was talking about, like, he should die.
Well,
Or
Xander
maybe that's more of a her what's the word? When you put your emotions on
oh,
somebody else.
projecting.
Yeah, that might be her projecting of, like, anyone who does something wrong should be punished for it,
Yeah.
even if it wasn't his fault.
You can hear my dogs eating in the background. It is what it is.
Hi,
Sorry,
puppers.
listeners. Um,
Hi, Prince and Princess.
Also, sorry that they just had an outburst. I don't know what Samantha's attitude problem is tonight.
It's okay, that's why we're recorded on different channels.
I have a lot of thoughts about, yeah, Buffy's kind of out of character, not having any sympathy, and I was very like, I think the way it gets resolved by the end of the episode is nice, and I'm excited to talk about it. So we have seen the janitor shoot the teacher who falls over the stairs. Jackal tile tackle what? Hello. Giles tackles the janitor and the gun disappears, and yeah, the janitor is similarly confused. What a scene indeed. I liked how at the beginning of it, you couldn't, if I was watching it for the first time, I might think that they actually were together and having an actual fight. And then when the guy says the line that we had heard before, then you're like, oh.
Yeah, because this time we see it pick up from the beginning, so it's not lines we've heard this time. So it's a really great misdirection kind of thing.
Okay, so the next scene, we get a glimpse at the mansion. There's Jasmine growing. Angel
Ugh,
points it
I
out
miss
to
this crew.
Drusilla. Yeah, we didn't see them really together in the last episode.
No, we didn't. Also, this place is gorgeous. This whole outdoor garden.
Angel is characteristically a dick to Spike and is a dick in a way that is like hitting on Drusilla, who's a skanky hoe and is
Yep.
just thrilled to have attention,
A skanky hoe
which like
with
get
an
your attention, girl,
incredible
but be nice
manicure.
to your man.
Mhm.
True. Yeah.
Yep. And excellent fashion sense.
And
Yeah, an incredible
yes.
dress too.
Yeah, that dress is fitting her and pushing all the right places and things. Yep, she looks good.
Get a girl. What happens next?
So Giles is thinking that this is Jenny because she died in the school. And poor sad delusional Giles.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is really sad. It made me feel really bad for him. Like, he just
Yeah.
wants it to be, I don't know, it's what everyone wants. You just want the one last conversation.
Yeah. But I do I do love Buffy, like, trying to be gentle, and she says, "It's sort of specific." I was like, "Yeah, just a little bit."
Yeah, they're all being really gentle. Giles says he has this quote that triggered me. He says, I encourage you to always challenge me when you feel it's appropriate. You should never be cowed by authority, except, of course, in this instance, where when I am clearly right and you are clearly wrong. If I haven't had so many boomer bosses say similar shit to me,
Yeah.
oh God.
Yeah, I wrote down that line too. Yeah, definitely that same energy of the, "Well, do as I say, not as I do."
Yeah.
Mm-mm. No, no, no.
Feel like I'm about to be given like an anti-union talk or something. The nonprofit world.
So
Okay,
we
so
have
they
a
all
really gross cafeteria scene. Is that what's next?
not quite. We go
Okay.
into the computer classroom first, I think, and
Ah, right,
there
right, right, right.
Buffy is saying that it's like his grief that's making him illogical. She kind of makes a call for more research. I think she says, "What do we know?" And Xander says, "Dog spit is cleaner than humans." I had to Google it, and according to the American Kennel Club, that isn't a totally fair comparison, but it is indeed false. I just want to put that on the record.
Isn't that just one of those old wives' tales?
That's
Probably.
exactly what the American Kennel Club too. Did you Google it too?
I didn't.
Right.
No, because that just doesn't, I am not shaming a single person. I just feel like if you're gonna eat shit, literally, I'm not going to trust that your mouth is cleaner than mine.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like when anyone talks about like, "Whoa, no, 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 don't give that to the dog." I'm like,
Like,
aside from some specific things, like they literally eat their own shit and will lap up their own vomit. I think that cracker's okay.
yeah.
I think it'll be fine.
Oh, good. I'm glad we're in agreement.
But that was a funny I liked that timing though of him just spewing out a random fact, quotes.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. That was good. There's a few things in this scene I don't like. This is where we start to see Buffy being super unsympathetic. Okay, so also Willow has pulled up the news article and has like figured out what scene is playing out. This is where we start to see Buffy being super unsympathetic and she like hates the dude for killing people and it's kind of like I don't okay. The thing she makes a low-key homophobic joke where she's talking about how she wants him to have 60 plus in jail, making friends with a weightlifter.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah,
like
making special friends with somebody the weightlifter.
um the guy also like killed himself, so I think that we probably could have had a little bit more compassion for the suicide. I don't know.
I kind of disagree that that's a homophobic joke though. It's more like a prison joke.
It's a prison rape joke.
Yes.
So
But that's not necessarily saying that gay is bad or that it's the gayness that's funny. You think?
Yeah, it's just the rape that's funny, Nick.
Yeah, Nick.
Oh yeah. Okay, fair enough. Yes. Yes.
She's
Okay.
saying that
It's
he
like-
deserves to rot and have his ass torn apart.
I definitely, it is like a very
Well, we all wish on our
tired-
enemies.
Yeah, it's definitely a very tired trope of like, I don't know, is it bordering on homophobia? Probably, because the worst thing that she can imagine is that someone who identifies as male is having sex or well, unconsensual sex with someone else who identifies as male. Like, yeah, it's definitely bordering. And that is like Stephen King does this a lot, actually. Like his biggest
Oh,
fear in
really?
life is going to jail and becoming someone's
Someone's
unconsenting
bitch.
bitch, basically. Yeah. Like it's in so
Yeah.
many of his books and so many of his like it's like to the point where I'm just like, relax, dude. Like you're good.
Really?
Um
Oh my
but
god.
it is like that happens on like Law and Order SVU. It happens a lot, like where you're just like
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
see the arc and the change where you're like, oh, like they're not making that joke anymore because it does border. It is, I think there's a line that's a little gray there where you're just like,
Yeah.
what do you
Yeah.
say though?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, thinking of it as
You're right
worst
though.
thing to come to you.
The part about it that's not right is I had I think mischaracterized it. Okay. Okay, good. See, I'm glad I brought that up because now I can relate to this in a whole different way. How about that?
There you go. There you go. But yeah, Buffy is definitely really getting into the projecting and not showing him any sympathy because she's not showing herself any sympathy.
Mm-hmm. They do a good job of making that clear by the end too. As the
Oh yeah.
viewer is kind of like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You start to be
Yeah.
like, oh,
Well,
okay.
Dr. Chase points it out
I get it.
relatively soon.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, now we're in the lunchroom. Allie, do you want to talk about this horrifying scene?
Ugh. That's it. That's all I really have to say.
Spaghetti turning into snakes is pretty nasty. Yeah.
I mean, for all of the tropey jokes that they make about cafeterias, school cafeterias, like I can honestly say it's never gotten that bad.
It felt very like The Craft, which I don't
Mm.
know if y'all have seen that, but it's an
A long,
excellent
long time
long.
ago.
But it came out, like, I think, I don't know if I actually don't know when it came out, but it probably came out around this time, which
It was
but
definitely 90s. I couldn't say exactly what year.
yeah, but there's definitely a part where like spiders are just coming out of faucets and you're just like, why
Eh.
though? Why are we doing this?
No, no,
Ugh.
no, no,
I love that
no.
Cordelia gets bit on the face too. Bitten on the
Yes.
face.
Yeah.
It's
I wrote down her quote after. Perfect. I'm gonna be scarred and swollen. Why didn't it just kill me? And then we have an amazing, kind of important moment where Snyder is talking to, I'm assuming, the police chief, and literally says the word hellmouth. He says it.
Yeah.
So I guess it's something kind of like when the president is sworn in, there's all sorts of like state secrets that he is now like let in on. Maybe there's certain like higher up officials in Sunnydale that like once you become police chief, once you become principal of
principal.
Sunnydale High, I guess there's like somebody's telling them. And then he even references like, "Oh, would you like me to take this up to the mayor?" Which clearly scares Snyder, which says something about the mayor.
Yeah, there is really cool foreshadowing here.
Yeah.
I need to know from one of those people with the secret knowledge. I need to know about Area 51. Joe Biden, if you're listening to this, you can send it to me secretly and I'll keep it a secret. I just need to know. Thank you.
Other than from me, you'll tell me, right?
I would never
Awesome.
disclose state secrets, and I'm
You know what?
definitely
That's
not
great that you're
nodding
being so
into the
loyal to your
camera
country.
right now.
You know,
Yeah.
I understand.
Well,
It
I'm
scenes
nothing
like
if not
this.
patriotic.
It's scenes like this that make me, when I'm like rich and famous actress, make me want to like produce a spin-off, more like police procedural kind of show focused on Snyder.
Oh, that'd be a cool spinoff.
Because there's clearly so much going on behind the curtain that he and all these officials know. There's so much there. There's so much there.
Francis, we're low key Snyder, not sympathizers,
Well,
but we like
A little bit.
see where he's coming from.
I mean, it would be quite stressful. He's in a real high stress environment, and for what he like knows or doesn't know, or like how he is supposed to be doing things, like I can understand how that could be a empathy, if not sympathy.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think being a teacher under normal, suburban, well-funded circumstances sounds horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I hated student teaching and the times that I taught. I cannot imagine trying to teach under these circumstances. I
Hey,
thought it was
teacher,
so
shout
annoying.
out to you. Thanks for what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah, but big applause to you because someone's gotta do it, and thank God I don't have to.
So we are at Buffy's house, and Willow is now agreeing with everybody that communicating with the spirit is probably a bad idea. We just need to go ahead and perform an exorcism. Maybe this is why I was so on about exorcisms at the last episode, Allie, because I had just watched this. Anyways,
Okay.
there's a funny exchange here. Willow says the only solution is the final solution, and Xander says nuke the school. I like that.
I did enjoy that.
So Willow presents to everybody a diagram with how they're going to perform the exorcism. There's a little triangle, and somebody stands in the center. And I just love that Willow's map that she's created has gold stars for where
Yes.
Yep.
everybody stands.
I love
Mhm,
that.
mhm.
It's very
Very
teacher
well made map.
Willow, but also like great use of gold stars.
Yep,
Great use of gold stars.
I love
Agreed.
it. Yep, you are gold stars. And gold stars because baby's first spell.
Oh,
Yeah, good for her. And she gave everybody little necklaces for
The
protection.
scapulas. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, baby's first spell just kinda pisses it off.
yeah, does
Probably
not go
not.
according to plan, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it kinda seems like a water gun on a house fire. I
Mm.
just think it was probably just not that it was already too strong, too far in. I don't know.
Yeah, that poltergeist was pissed or sad or one of them.
I mean, it's conjuring locusts. I think it's a little more than lighting some candles.
Very true.
So like a lot of really weird stuff happens, but basically the spell doesn't go well. Willow gets pulled into the floor. At one point, there's still snakes everywhere. Cordelia's reflection gets really gross. And ultimately, the spell is not successful.
Yes, but there are some great quotes in between that. Before the spell is finished, we see Drew having an awesome, super weird moment. I just love the gang being back together after the last couple episodes, not having very much Spike or Drew. Just so love her doing her Drew thing, and we get uh Xander's, coping with comedy. Oh yeah, baby, it's Snakealicious in here.
Yeah. In the cafeteria. Yeah.
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 Yeah, and then Willow show, all of our, quicksand nightmares as kids coming to fruition.
God, especially in school. Like, that's like
Mhm.
being stuck here forever.
Yeah, can you imagine? No, thank you. I like the quote. Her and Giles have a few exchanges that are cute. Giles compliments Willow's use of sulfur. He calls her clever. It's lovely. And then this seemed meaningful to me. As the crazy shit is happening, Willow says to Giles, "This can't be Jenny. She wouldn't be this mean."
Mhm.
And that's when Giles says, "I know."
That is like a
Yeah.
very nice kind of moment that's sandwiched in a bunch of chaos where it's because they had a little chat before where he's like, "Oh, well, like, I'm gonna try to talk to her, so if you see any ghosty stuff, that's just me. It's obviously not your ghost because 'cause you're wrong." And then just kind
Yeah.
of he's such a good actor, but it's such a great moment of, like, you can just feel his, like, resignation of, like, "No, she's gone. It's done."
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is a really lovely moment between the 2 of them.
He continues to have some really great lines in the next scene. Are we back at Buffy's house?
Almost. There's this lovely we see Buffy taking her position out on the balcony where stuff goes down, and there's this lovely, like, not quite shaky cam. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but there's this, like, kind of fuzzy, shaky movement panning into her that gives this impression that, like, she's being watched or something's different about her area. And I don't know, it was a cool camera moment.
Hmm. There's that jump scare where the creepy guy attacks her.
Yeah, yeah, it's right before then.
Yeah.
It was very cool.
All right, we're back at Buffy's house debriefing.
Yep.
So I think they are kind of talking about how like they're coming to terms with how far along the possession is going. And I just kept typing because there's just a lot of great dialogue here. They are talking about how the kid James is in some form of purgatory where forgiveness is impossible because he keeps killing the person he loves. And Buffy goes, "Good, he doesn't deserve it." And Giles says, "To forgive is an act of compassion, Buffy. It's not given because they deserve it. It's done because they need it." And
Yeah.
I just love these little nuggets of life wisdom in Buffy.
Yeah, I paused the episode to write down that quote because it's really lovely.
Buffy kind of remains uncompassionate about the situation. And this is when I think it's really setting in that you can kind of see as the viewer, you're like she still is not having any warm fuzzies towards this guy at all. And you can tell it's about more than just this. Like
Yeah.
you can kind of see what's happening under the hood there.
I don't mean
Yeah.
to be like the cynic that I am, but I definitely do. I'm I definitely feel where Buffy is coming from. And I'm trying like, yes, that's a beautiful quote and like that's so right. Like you have to be able to forgive yourself and you have to be able to forgive others and all that fun stuff. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, yeah, Buffy, you're fucking right. He doesn't deserve forgiveness. Fuck this guy.
Yeah, it is like kind of an unfair compare like she does need to hear the lesson that you can be like terrible things can have happened and you still deserve forgiveness and stuff. But it feels like a little bit of an unfair comparison that
Mhm.
this dude killed this girl and like somehow that's equivalent to the havoc that's been wreaked upon the Scoobies because of Angel. I don't know. That's a good point. What do you think, Allie? You're always graceful in these situations.
Thank you. Well, I think maybe that's a little bit the point that she sees herself as this horrible person, and that's I think that is the whole point. She's being so hard on herself. She sees herself as someone who should never, just be in prison forever. Like she's just like totally demonizing herself. Um in the way that, yeah, maybe this kid deserves to be, or it's been almost 50 years since his thing. If he's been in purgatory this long, maybe it's time for him to move on. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that is also the whole point of the quote is that like it's about being kind. It's not about whether they deserve it or not. But yeah, I think the disparity of the situations is kind of the point that she's being just so hard on herself.
Oh, that's interesting. Hmm. Okay, so Buffy walks into the kitchen and she finds a dance flyer in her coat pocket.
Oh,
And
right
then
before she does that, there's a kinda lovely, gentle moment from Xander, sort of bringing her back to reality because she's like, "Yeah, no, he should be punished forever, whenever, whatever," and that's when Xander says, "He can't, Buffy, he's dead," and it's kind of like stating the obvious that, "By the way you're talking, maybe it isn't so obvious," and we get the beautiful quote from Doctor Cordelia Chase, "Okay, over-identify much?" Stating the obvious, thank you, Cordelia.
oh, tact, Cordelia. Oh, it's come up again.
Mhm. Yes, I'm ready to move on.
Good. I'm glad. There's a that's a great scene. I'm glad you said that. So I think that Buffy starts to get overtaken by the spell or something by the poltergeist when she goes into the kitchen because she's compelled to go to the school.
Definitely, definitely. I think Giles used the word thrall.
Thrall.
Yes,
Yeah.
under the spirit's thrall.
The
Because
feels so
she's still her, but there's definitely something tugging at her.
poltergeist mechanics are
Mhm,
interesting.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. Because like, it doesn't hit my next note is it's interesting how it doesn't hit both she and Angelus at the same time.
Yeah, so at this point so they're there together and Buffy starts playing out the script and Angel isn't affected by it yet. I noticed that. That was really interesting.
Yeah. Kinda funny, a little bit funny. It's like, "Wow, you're being weird."
I found a fun fact in my trivia that David Boreanaz is acting in this scene or in this episode, according to reports, is what inspired the chief asshole himself to consider a spinoff.
Huh.
And I
Ah.
think it makes sense because it's really brilliant acting all
Mhm.
around. I mean, I would say Sarah Michelle Gellar won, but she already has a show, so she doesn't. I mean, she
Also
could have a
true.
spinoff. Maybe not, but
A spin-off
True.
of the
um,
show, but it's Buffy. That'd be great.
yeah, just Buffy like 2.0 or something.
Just
Who
more
knows?
Buffy. Yeah. No, I do. I think that's one of the reasons why I love this episode so much because there's just something about this scene of the two of them. It's so beautiful the way that it's spliced with the flashback and it's the two of them acting it out. You just like and it's so beautiful seeing the role reversal, gender reversal, whatever, and seeing Angel be the like teary, soft one and her being the aggressive hard. I think it's just all around beautiful.
And such a cool twist too.
Yeah. It's
Mhm.
definitely they pulled it out. Like, they were like, "Oh, we're doing this." Like, it's a very great acting, like, especially them to each other, like, they're really good against each other, like, I really enjoy when
Mhm.
it's Angel and Buffy and, like, they're just really fun together typically, and I mean, obviously, until it's not fun, but, like,
Right.
even when they're, like, fighting like crazy, like, and it's literally life or death, the way their dynamic is great, and then to see it kind of, like I mean, the end, but, like, the way their relationship, if they actually had, like, broken up in a healthy way, whatever, like,
Mhm.
could have ended,
Mhm.
like, obviously, it's not super healthy because there's a gun and murder and etcetera, but, like, minus the gun, it should have been, like, "I have to stay away from you because it's dangerous," and, like, you
Right.
have to accept that, and her being like, "I don't want to. This isn't fair," kind of thing, and
Yeah.
then, like, yeah, it's just the way that they acted is really, really nice.
Yeah, well, and it's even echoing things that I'm pretty sure he already said before they, like, officially are like, "Yeah, we're dating." There was a lot of, "I'm a lot older than you," and all that, and then also it's beautiful because it's almost like Angel from the past is speaking to her or, the real
Mhm.
Angel is, like,
Mhm.
almost like a ghost resurrected to, like, speak to her. It's just and you feel her pain, and it's just all of the stuff that she's been clearly feeling but not talking about coming out in this whole play. Oh, just so lovely.
Yeah, I think it's really neat. So the scene plays out like starts to play out in the same way it's always has, but obviously Angel doesn't die because has a he can't get
'Cause he's dead.
he can't die from a gunshot. And yeah, the way so the script changes and the poltergeist trauma gets resolved and Buffy's trauma kind of gets I don't know if resolved, but she makes some really important steps here.
Yeah.
Yeah. How confusing like that so is this like a net healing thing for Buffy? Do we
Oof.
think?
I don't know.
Because she's remembering like a really sweet scene play out and probably better resolved relationship wise, but then really confusing because you come back and he's still I don't know.
Well, and then it's
Yeah.
like having this really lovely dream, getting to live out this better ending, and then the snap back to reality when she has to open her eyes and he runs away and all of the whatever's going on in that moment comes flooding back. Like, woof, it might be net zero. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or maybe after some
that's
processing, she's able to pick out the good parts.
maybe, yeah, that's rough. It was a rough God, that's a rough, like, ending because it's so sweet and it's so nice, and then all of a sudden, it's just, like, snap back to reality, and you're just like he's just like, "Fuck you, I don't like you." It's almost, like,
Yeah,
little kiddish, he, like, pushes her away. She's like, "Angel?"
right. He runs away scared of
Yeah,
feelings.
yeah.
I think it might be one of those things that kind of classic breakup where while you're feeling all of the intense feelings, it's hard to take the lessons, but like in some time, maybe she'll like appreciate it more and like have more of the distance and like be able to take those lessons. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Later, she we see the group in the library. All the yucky stuff is gone. Clearly, Poltergeist is taken care of. And then Giles finds Buffy in the office and he says, "You feeling any better?" No. Shut the fuck up, Giles.
No, I'm not.
No.
Thanks
No,
for
no.
the 7 minutes, though. I appreciate it.
Yeah, everything's all better. Thanks, Giles.
Oh, man. There's some interesting lines here. She says, "James picked me. I guess I was the one he could relate to. He was so sad." And then she's another one I wrote down. She says, "A part of me just doesn't understand why she would forgive him." Um, it's kind of interesting to see Buffy wrestle with like themes about forgiveness and the complicated. I don't know, just as she's wrestling with forgiving herself too.
I loved
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I loved when she was like, "I just don't understand," because that is forgiveness of a person who hurt you is very difficult, but then also, like, on top of it, like, forgiving yourself for something, even if, like, everyone around you was like, "You have nothing to forgive, like, like, it's not your fault, it's not your fault." But if you're putting yourself in that like, you're harder on yourself than you are on anyone else, and it's so
Yeah.
it's not like you can have that conversation and have back and forth with, like, "Well, this is why I'm hurting, and this is why I feel this way," and then have, like, yourself respond, so it's just, like, it's so
Mm,
much harder to dig that up and, like, work
Right.
through that. So I
Yeah.
really like that she's at least saying that out loud. Hopefully that's helps her, I don't know, like, just get on the road to forgiveness.
Yeah, it's definitely not one of the episodes where everything's fixed by the end.
Yeah.
It's just not,
mm,
which is great because we do see a lot of that in this episode. Like in the beginning of the season when basically in one episode she processes the death of the master and her friends get over her being a bitch the first few weeks of school. Like, "Oh, okay, and we're all
Yeah.
fine." Cool. It's nice that it's not that. And I totally get that. I mean, some with certain things, it doesn't matter how many times your friends say, "No, you're great. You weren't to blame. He's the asshole," whatever. They can say it as many times until they're blue in the face. You have to believe it for yourself, and it's hard to even know how to get yourself to feel that way. I guess it's just time
Mm,
mm.
while she's still very much in it, so
yeah.
There's a scene right after this one, and it kinda it's definitely like it lightens things up, and then there's that twist from Spike too, and as I was reviewing, there were some reviews that didn't like this next scene because they felt like it, like, cheapened the rest of the episode, but I'm really glad it was here because, like, if we had just ended in a
Uh-oh.
library there, it's just, like, so heavy and it's so like unresolved that I need something a little lighter, like Angel trying to wash feelings off it, literally wash with water or feelings off of him and being shirtless.
Mm.
Yeah. I
And
had that
Drusilla
note.
yeah. And Drusilla being like, "Oh, we'll make you feel better. Let's go eat a fucking toddler." Bruh.
Yeah. Yeah, I had that note, and the funny denouement, so we can all feel a little bit better before going home,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I think that's just a matter of opinion whether you like that or not.
It doesn't seem like you liked it, Allie.
Oh, I recognized what they were doing. I was able to recognize that, but as somebody who does really feel this relationship, it's a very important relationship to me. It does affect me, so it I was personally thankful for the little bit of humor so that we could pull ourselves out of it. But I know that there are some people who were like, "No, sit in those nasty feelings, sit in the hard things, don't make everything easy on the audience." And I'm like, well, if that's how you want it, then that's how you want it, and you're not going to agree with these choices,
But it does I mean, like, that's what Buffy is, like, Buffy, like,
right?
it takes you to the edge and you're feeling all these things, and then it's like Xander saying, like, "Fucking dogs' mouths are cleaner than yours,"
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
what it
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Or
It's
or at the
even
beginning of the season, it's like the anointed one going, hate that girl
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
after we had this, like, big emotional thing, and then it's nice. I really appreciate those buttons that, like, let us breathe, that,
But
like,
and
it
it's
lets
so
the
much
tension
more
out of the
real.
room.
It's so much more
Yeah,
real to, like, life. Like, you're not constantly stuck in one feeling all the time. Like, you're
right,
and the people around you aren't always going to be doing the thing, like, that you're doing. So it makes it
right.
more real.
Yeah, people don't always do the right thing in the
Mhm.
moment or what you
I
think they're
love the
gonna do.
cliffhanger too that Spike is heals and he just looks after Angel with such hate.
Mhm.
I liked this little cliffhanger.
Yeah, I guess I understand why he doesn't reveal it as soon as possible. I mean, does he just think that he can't beat Angelus? Like, is he
It's not
biding his
totally
time
clear to
for a
me.
plan?
Yeah, but he doesn't like have a he doesn't have yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I agree that I am not really clear
Like,
on
you're miserable,
his thought
dude.
process.
right, and
You're
knowing Spike, it's
miserable.
probably just for dramatic effect, like, for no
Yeah.
reason other
Yeah.
than.
That's true. I do like that. I like the idea of him, like, sitting through this other guy hitting on his girl for dramatic effect. You could have revealed this at any moment, only when it was the funniest. No, I do like that. That's funny.
Okay, we've talked about the full episode. We are going to invite everybody's closing thoughts. Allie, I thought it might make sense to start with you because you said in our last episode that this
Mhm.
ranks maybe your favorite in the series.
Quite possibly, because I do there's something that I really, really love about the Angelus and Buffy reenactment scene. And yeah, it is 100% still up there. I can't really say if it's exactly number 1 without, like, there's so many boundaries and qualifiers and stuff that go into, like, okay, well, does it have my best action scene? Does it have the blah, blah, blah? But it's definitely top 5, if not top 3.
Francis, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, I love this episode. I don't know. I've never considered ranking a Buffy episode because I'm disorganized. And
Hmm,
but it is
cheers.
a great episode and it is such like a classic. It's a classic with a nice twist at the end where you're like, "Oh, this is actually really meaningful," because like it's the Scooby Gang in school with just like a ghost or whatever, and then it like amps it up to 10 because it's like, oh, it's literally not just a ghost. This is Buffy figuring her own life out. And like it's a great episode. This is why I was allowed to choose my episode, and it was this one or the one before, which was like a classic monster episode, which and the episode before this one's great with her in the hospital and everything. But chose this one for like the very specific reason of like it's the classic like you feel it till you hurt and then they make you laugh.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I said that I think I said that somewhere in my notes. It really has it all because it has great music, has great quips. Like you said, it makes you feel something, and then it also makes you laugh. It's a really well balanced episode. It's got everything.
Yeah, I love how it works on so many different levels. I love the twists. I love the ones that make you think about your characters a little more, give some more nuance to them. Yeah, this is a really great one. Yeah, I
Nick, in
enjoyed this
your
one.
research, did you see how this episode is received? Because we talked about in the last episode that apparently Killed by Death does not rank well with a lot of people, which does not compute for me. I don't understand. I think you must be watching a different episode.
Yeah, some people really hate it. Like it there are some rough episodes of Buffy out there, but if you asked me to pick, I wouldn't have picked Killed by Death as one of the rough ones. I really enjoyed it. I think that the same person who gave this one a 1, who gave the last one 1 out of 4, gave this one 3 out of 4. I have not done extensive research on
Oh,
if
okay.
other people,
Yeah, I was just
um
curious if you saw anything for this one.
yeah, and if it's a super popular one. I like it though. I mean, again, I have to put my misgivings about some of the premises on a shelf and not think about them. But if you just think about, if you do that, then I think I don't know. I don't know. I think this is a pretty brilliant one. Yeah.
Me too. Me too.
Francis,
This has been so much fun. Thank you for joining
Thank
us. I
you.
really appreciate it and can't wait to have you back.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This was so fun. I was so excited to do this because this has been like a few months in the making. So I was like, as soon as you asked me to, I like immediately watched episodes because I haven't watched Buffy in like forever. So I think I'm gonna have to do a binge. Um, and the next,
Highly encouraged.
yeah, in the next month or so, I'm gonna have to do just start at the beginning again because it's one of those shows where like I don't think I've ever gone back to it and not been like, "Oh, right. Like, this is fucking incredible. I love this show."
Yeah.
Think if you start now, you might be able to get through like 4 seasons before the end of the year, which is in 3 days,
Mhm.
friends. So, just start round the clock
Yeah,
watching.
I'm committed.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's been lovely to meet you. Of
Yeah,
course,
you as
any friend
well.
of Nick's is must be somebody wonderful. So glad you are just as cool as advertised.
Yay. Well, thank goodness.
Allie, do
Well,
you want to close us out?
if Nick is speaking highly of you, then must be pretty
True.
cool.
Well, that's because I have an impeccable judge of character, and I'm such like a magnanimous, wonderful person myself that I only attract good people to me.
It's true. You get out what
And
you get back what you put out,
yeah, I'm gorgeous, basically, is
basically.
what this means.
I
It's
think
all
that
about me.
about does it for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us for today's episode, and we hope you'll join us next time when we'll discuss season 2, episode 20. Go fish.
If you are just too excited to wait until the next episode to chat, please send us an email at tabularasabpod@gmail.com. That is tabularasabpod@gmail.com. You can also say hello to us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok at tabularasabpod. We'd be so thrilled if you would leave us a rating and a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Allie, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on the internet at daughterpick, DAUGHTERPICK, on Instagram and Twitter. You can find me on TikTok at Future Black Cat. If you wish to send some money my way, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Allie-Press. That's ALLIEPRESS. You can also find me on Venmo, Allie-Press.
Finish the
Francis.
rest of your script there. Yeah.
Am I
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
sorry.
Allie prompts Francis for social media plug. There we go. Sorry about that. Francis, where can we find your lovely persona online?
I think definitely check out the Podcast Diaries 1 on Instagram. That's where I think a lot of our updates come through for the podcast. My personal Instagram is very boring and not updated ever. So definitely more information would be on Podcast Diaries 1 Instagram. And yeah, to give us a listen if you like this. We're not, it's ours is a little more teeny boppy because it is a Meg Cabot inspired podcast. But yeah, check us out.
And y'all, we didn't say this before. Podcast Diaries podcast is so successful that they read Meg Cabot books at right. Meg Cabot is a huge fixture. She wrote the Princess Diaries, and Jordan and Francis had Meg Cabot on for an episode of
That's
their
insane.
podcast.
It was crazy.
That is
That is so
insane.
fucking cool. Yeah, so y'all have to
I
listen
just
to
realized
their
something,
podcast.
and this is so last minute. I did a movie with Sarah Michelle Gellar.
I was waiting for you I didn't
I'm
know
s
if you weren't allowed to
No,
talk
I
about
totally
it or
forgot.
if there was something, but yeah.
Yeah,
Tell say
she's in Do Revenge, which we did
Yeah.
last summer, and she plays the principal, of course, which is great, or the headmistress. Yeah, she did awesome, and I mean, some hardcore tea spill would be that she, I mean, not gonna name names, but the lead actor on it, she met her, like, for 5 minutes and, like, kind of went to the director and was like, "So it's been like this the whole time?"
Wow.
That's so
But she
funny.
was amazing, total professional, like,
Interesting.
literally was, like, 5 takes and done, like, amazing.
Awesome. I love hearing that
I
about her. I'm curious about because it's 2 leads other than Sarah Michelle Gellar. I haven't watched it yet, but I
If it
I have a
narrows it
feeling
down,
I
she
know which
only
lead.
has a scene with one of the leads.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. I haven't watched it yet, but I've seen the trailer, so.
You're not missing much.
But
Oh,
I
yeah,
felt compelled
you were
because
involved with it. It's brilliant.
well,
Stop.
because
It's gonna have
Sarah
the best
Michelle
sets
Gellar
ever.
has, hasn't done anything in a while, so I feel compelled to watch her work.
Her scenes are great.
So I
But
was
yeah, sorry to just like throw that in at the end. But yeah.
no worries.
This is a little treat for the people who listen all the way to the end. I'll hint at it in a social media
Okay.
post. We'll
There you go.
we'll
Close
Perfect.
personal
I'm
friend
so
is Sarah
glad.
Michelle Gellar.
Pretty much.
Amazing.
Friends, wow, we have devolved. All of the social media handles that we talked about are going to be in the description. Go listen to Podcast Diaries. Go join Allie's Buy Me a Coffee. I'm now, well, a member again. I don't know how I'm, whatever. Go do it. Allie, Francis, it's so lovely to see you both.
Thank you
You
so
as
much.
well, my Nicholas.
This was
And
awesome. Thank you
enjoy
guys.
we'll see you all in the new year. Wishing you all a great start. Cheers. Make proud choices.
Pride choices. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Tabula Rasa Bitches is hosted by Allie-Press and Nick Mercer, with music by Infoton Cult, artwork by Charlotte Fleming Design, and consultation by Evo Terra.